SOUNDCHECK.network, the new online magazine.
Until next time, until we meet again, look after yourself. I need you. Until then, take your future in your own hand. Take your future in your own hand and make your future real.
So Blaze, welcome to our online magazine SOUNDCHECK.network. It's a real pleasure and honor to have you here.
Thank you.
So I would like to start with your news. How was this past years for you with the pandemic and all the stuff? I believe it was a Pull Yourself Up, as it's one of your favorite songs, period, I believe. For everyone, maybe for you as well.
Well, yeah, I think it's been difficult for everybody. And I was supposed to be writing and recording, and then as normal during the process, take a bit of time out to do a few gigs and then come back to the writing. And what happened was gigs started to get postponed and then cancelled, and so we didn't actually break from the writing. And what happened was we just stuck within the guidelines of the government, and 15 days together, then 15 days apart, quarantine, and 15 days together in the same place. And it gave us a lot more time, much more than normal, to live with the ideas and the songs. So we'd come back and go, wow, that sounds really good. And to other things, that sounds really bad. So it was good in that way. It was absolutely tragic in the way that we missed all of these concerts. But I think, it's difficult for everybody. The scariest part was the second lockdown here, when I thought, well, will there ever be live music? It was a little bit scary then, before all the vaccine was taking hold and everything. That felt very odd, like we might not be able to do live shows again. That was a challenge. And my fans have been so loyal to me over so many years. They've really supported me, that when we thought about the kind of album that we'd like to end up with, it had to be a positive album, because my fans have stuck with me and picked me up when sometimes things were very, very challenging and I wanted to stop music altogether. And I thought, they've done so much for me. I wanted to have an album that my fans have been waiting 2 years for the album, and then when they put it on, they go, it's my Blaze album, and it's good, and it's positive. So that's what we tried to do, have something very positive. And all the way through the process, we were going, this chord, could that be building and making a positive message, and trying to keep the lyrics positive as well. One of my favorite songs is about the scientists on there. We've got 3 scientists on the album, each with incredible achievements of their own. But Stephen Hawking, for me, he was the most important, because the message of him as a human being living with a disability that probably would have broken me. He is trapped in his body with his brain still functioning 100%. He had to learn to communicate all over again. And I think the unstoppable Stephen Hawking has been one of my favourite songs on the album. And Pull Yourself Up, which is a true story about when I had a motorcycle accident. They said I'd never walk. Yeah, I had an accident on my motorcycle and they said I would never walk properly again. And I thought, well, you don't know me. And I did all the rehab and everything, and I learned to walk again. And another time in my life, a big challenge was the top magazine in the UK for heavy metal. They reviewed my record and they said, you can't sing. Blaze can't sing, which was horrible. So both of those things are in the song. They're the lyrics of the song, and the things that I said to myself and did to get myself going and get myself out of that situation. That's what's in there. That song's called Pull Yourself Up, and I wanted a lot of things like that. And also there's an anti-suicide message, an important anti-suicide, because we lose a lot of good people just because they think they're alone and their life has no meaning, and they get trapped in a circle of bad thoughts and become depressed and suicidal. So I got a song just about my own feelings about the things I sometimes try to do to get out of that kind of anxiety and depression, and that's called The Witch's Night. Mm-hmm. So we were able to make a good album, and then also it's been the anniversary of me joining Iron Maiden 25 years ago, and there's been on the Legacy of the Beast tour from Maiden, there's been a couple of the songs from my albums, Sign of the Cross and The Clansman. And what's been interesting is people have got us to do festivals and asked for that anniversary set list, which is just my Maiden songs. And it's gone really, really well. And then people that have seen us for the first time there have then come to my headline shows where I do mostly my own stuff from my 11 studio albums that I've done. And it's gone really well. And we've seen a few more people at each show, just a few. I'm a very small artist. I'm underground. Not many people know about me or even like me. But I really don't care about that because I'm not trying to be big. I'm just trying to play the same venues I always play, but full. That's it. That's my dream. And so far, it's going really, really well. Very excited to come back to Greece. We had that big tour there with, I think it was 10 shows in 10 days. Last time we went there all over Greece, we had some great memories, a lot of fun, and some really crazy things happened to us on that tour. So very excited about coming back. When I was with Maiden, then Greece was my first European date, and I never played Greece before. And I don't think Maiden had played so many shows in Greece. And it was a fantastic time, and the gigs went really well, and the Greek fans were very open to listening to me as the new singer for Iron Maiden. And that went really, really well. And I had a holiday in Greece on the island of Poros before I was in Iron Maiden, and I was still back in the Wolfsbane days. And so to be there headlining in front of thousands of people with Iron Maiden. And I had a holiday where I learned a couple of Greek words from the ice cream man on the beach, and then saying them on stage is really crazy, really. And the Greek fans, you would never know if you hadn't experienced it, how loud the Greek fans are and what great singers the Greeks are. Incredible singers. You know, I think that all fans react differently in different parts, but you get a sense of what the personality and the culture is a little tiny bit. And with Greece, I always think of Greece as magnificent singers, the Greek fans. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm very, very excited to come back. I think the top singers for fans in the world is Greece, France, Brazil, and Wales. So
okay, that means a lot
great.
for a
I'm
singer
very
that's
excited.
that sang in Latin America, which are also famous for being really great singers,
Yeah.
as you say. And that almost answers my another question I had. How did this mini tour come up as an idea? But you answered that as well. And please let me say so that there were some great messages in your words that have to be heard in the world after what we've experienced the last years. Some great messages relating to your personal experience as well. Let me ask you something else. You've come up with the trilogy, then the Infinite Entanglement. You gave us War Within Me that you talked about it a little while ago. Was there any new music coming up during these years or not yet?
Yeah, well, I'm always trying to catch things on my dictaphone. You know, now it's all in one thing. It's the phone, it's the messages, and the recording device, whereas before you had to have a little tape recorder and a notebook. But I'm always trying to catch things, and I'm starting work now on piecing some ideas together that should be a new studio album next year. And we hope that it will be good. The problem that I have is if I make a good album that my fans really like, that's a lot of pressure for the next album that people, oh, you've got to try and beat it. I don't want to try and beat the War Within Me album. For me, it's one of the best things I've ever done. If I could get close to being as good as that, I'll be very, very happy, because a lot of my fans going back to my early records after Maiden say that the War Within Me album is the best album I've ever done. So that's a lot of pressure when it comes to doing the new album. And I try not to think about it. I try to use my heart and my gut and go, does this feel good? Is it coming from the right place? Does it feel good? And then just gently start to piece things together. And my songwriting now is more of put something together, leave it, listen to it then with fresh thoughts, have some distance. And I think that works for me right now at this point in my career. But I'm very lucky to have so much dedicated, loyal support. I'm a tiny underground artist in the world. People think I'm really famous because of my time with Iron Maiden. It's a very small part of Iron Maiden. And those albums at the time, they did well in certain countries. My albums did well in Greece and in Sweden and Brazil, but in other places they didn't do very well, the ones with me. Fans didn't really like the change. A lot of people from that era still hate Blaze Bayley. They hate what I did. They hate those 2 albums that I was on. That's fine by me. I like the fact that I've done something that is strong enough for someone to have such a big, forceful, emotional reaction to it. But I do think some of the people that hate me have actually never listened to what I do. So I think now it's a time to come back to Greece, enjoy myself, enjoy the wonderful Greek fans. At every show that I do, there will be a free meet and greet. That's just included in the ticket. You buy a Blaze Bayley ticket, it's normal price, you get the free meet and greet in with it. But I would say only bring, if you've got items to sign, get there early before the show, and nothing for eBay. I hate these people who get things signed and put it on eBay. I want to kill them. But apart from that, if you want a photo, a selfie, then please only bring 5 things to sign, and then we can do it, and I can sign for everybody. Every show that I did on the last Greek tour, no matter how many people, I think we played to 300 people in Athens, I signed for every person. So my Greek fans are very important to me, and I'm very, very excited about the Greek tour.
I cannot believe there's someone that hates you, as you said. If there was, if he heard these words already that you passed to me, would be anyway. More or less, you answered one question that I wasn't intending to ask about, which is your favorite personal album from your personal career. But I want to ask from the other two, with Iron Maiden, which one would you pick?
I don't think I can pick a whole album. There's so much wonderful music between the 2 albums. Then, you know, for me personally, my absolute biggest song from me is Como Estas Amigos. It's a huge song. I didn't do well with writing slower tempo songs before, and I had a lot of help there from Yannick Gers and Steve Harris with the arrangement. So even though Sign of the Cross and Klansman, big songs that I'm famous for, the one that's really big for me personally is Como Estas Amigos. It's a very important song. So, and that's from the second album, from Virtual 11. And Look for the Truth is a big song for me as well. Future Real is a big song. Lord of the Flies is something I really enjoy doing. It's very, very powerful. So it's difficult to choose, you know. I like so much music from both albums.
Okay. If I ask you for the rest of the Maiden career from their the albums you weren't there.
Well, I think Seventh Son is, I think I like all of the stuff, you know, that they've done, and Brave New World was good. Matter of Life and Death really stands out to me. And I think Senjutsu is a good album as well. But for me personally, when I've listened through, and if I'm picking a song to listen to, then Seventh Son, I'm always leaving it on. And I just, there's something about Seventh Son and the way that it was done, the sound of it, it just appeals to me. So I suppose, even though I love Peace of Mind, and Number of the Beast as the albums that I first got into as a fan, I think Seventh Son, really, if I could only have one Iron Maiden album to keep, it would be Seventh Son.
For me as well, so we agree. Next question comes from a friend, a colleague in our magazine, Pelopidas. He wants me, a huge fan, he wanted me to ask that. There was the trilogy, Infinite Entanglement.
Yes.
Was there any idea of transferring it to something like a comic or a different or scenario or a different?
Absolutely. There's a book. I'm working on the book. I've never written a book before, and it's a challenge to finish the book. But there is a lot that the trilogy itself, the songs on there are a snapshot, really, because there are backstories to each character. Why are they there in that situation? Why are they doing that thing? Their own individual stories aren't songs, but they are stories that exist, which I want to tell people. And there is an idea about doing a comic to go with it, but I have to finish the whole idea from start, to turn it into a book, I think. So that's just ongoing. When I get bits of free time, I've got to work on that.
That's great news. That's great news. We're waiting for that work of yours as well. If I ask you about new music that you're listening to, or have you heard your previous bands, previous from Maiden?
Yeah, I think it's really good. Yeah, I think it's really good. And also, Sabaton's new album is absolutely wonderful as well. That's a fantastic piece of work. So I think, yeah, that's what I'm listening to. But it's difficult in this stage. I can't listen to a lot because now I'm starting to think of my new album. And the problem is, if you listen to something, then it'll go in, and sometimes it'll come out and you'll think it's yours from the creative part of your mind, but actually it's a memory that you forgot it belongs to someone else. It comes out and you'll find yourself humming, whistling a melody. Oh, I'll get that melody. And then you go, oh no, that's a Sabaton song, or that's a Maiden song, or whoever else. So that's a challenge, really. So around this time, I don't listen to a lot of new music. When I finish a project, it's a big release. Then I just listen to everything. And I've always got my same tracks, my same playlist that I take to the gym with me, which is a lot of Manowar.
I believe that it's not a problem because, as I understood from what you initially told me, what you write is from your heart, so it's difficult to be regarded something like a copy or anything, even if music may seem alike or anything. That happens, I believe, with all bands and all musicians, but when it comes from your heart...
It's a narrow path that we tread in heavy metal. We're using basically a lot of the same things. A drum kit, 2 guitars, a bass, and a vocal, maybe 3, 4, 5 vocals. There's a lot that's the same that we just kind of, oh, well, if I do it this way, that's a bit more like me. People will see it's my own. So lyrically, I think I'm okay. It's just occasionally I wonder if melodies, I remember somebody else's melody by accident. So a couple of very trusted friends, then I say to them, if I'm curious, I say, listen to this for me. Tell me if this new idea of mine reminds you of anything else. And one day it was exactly like something. Like, oh no. So I had to change all the music, but it worked out great because the song worked out great.
So that's why Maiden probably put in a third guitar to be differentiated from the rest that you were describing. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. It's a nice option to have that third guitar and do different things. Creatively, you can do a lot with that.
Yes, or 3 singers as Halloween.
Yeah, I think
recently
as well. That's a really cool vibe.
So back to the mini tour you're heading in about 2 weeks. It's an Iron Maiden anniversary. Could you tell us a little more? Will there be any surprises?
I don't know, because I think one thing about the Greek fans, they don't keep secrets very well. They're able to find out everything. So I don't think there will be many surprises, but I will be playing a couple of my own songs too from the War
Great.
album.
Great,
So, because I know there are a lot of fans in Greece that already have that album and be looking forward to hear it. And because of the way things were, we missed the main tour that we were going to do with that. So it's mostly from X Factor, Virtual 11, and a couple of songs from my War Within Me album. And we played a set like this at a couple of festivals, and it's gone down very well. So we hope for the best.
I'm sure, because as you know already, you've experienced that the respect and esteem that comes from the Greek fans towards your career and what you give them every time.
It's thank you. I love coming to Greece. I absolutely love coming there, and I love the cheese pies. So yeah, I really love coming to Greece, and of course I love the weather as well. It's really grey and murky now, and we're getting cold, rain, and everything here in the UK. So I'm hoping temperature in Greece will be a lot nicer.
Thank you. I believe we're nearing the end of this interview. The last words to your fans, sorry, and our readers. Any message you want to send them ahead of these shows? You'll be heading in 5 different cities in Greece. I don't know if you've been in every one of them before. For sure, Athens and Thessaloniki, but have you been before in Larissa or Patras or Xanthi?
I think so. On the last tour, I can't remember, to be honest. It was 10 shows, and it was a very intense tour. So we had some great nights, some absolutely wonderful nights there, and some of it was crazy. We played the tiniest place and the biggest place. So anywhere that we could, really, to get to see fans. So a huge thank you to all my Greek fans. I'm really, really excited about coming to see you and the amazing Greek singers, and also the wonderful Greek food I'm looking forward to as well. So thank you for all of your support until now, and I really hope that you'll enjoy my Iron Maiden anniversary set list. Until next time, Evkaristo.
Thank you. And us as a new magazine, online magazine, SOUNDCHECK Network, it was a really honor and a privilege to have you with us. Thank you very much indeed, Blaze.
Thanks very much. Good luck with your magazine, man. Wish you all the best.
SOUNDCHECK.network, the new online magazine.